Alright, it's that time again. Time for another solo overnighter in the woods. And this time, we're doing a gear dump overnighter. Let's get to it. Alright, so this video here is going to be a little bit different. We're going to go ahead and talk about a gear dump, and then we're going to go out in the field and use that gear for an overnighter. I found that a lot of videos that are just gear dumps, where they talk about what you could do, what you should do, what you want to do, are kind of half-assed at best. It's always good for the viewer to see the gear and then see you using the gear to kind of validate it and tie it all together. So let's kick this off and talk about gear that I would carry out in the field using a kit like this. Let's get to it. So starting this off, let's talk about the needs versus the wants, okay? Now, depending on your background, you can say, I don't need anything. Just go out there and sit. True, most people, you could probably go out there if you're dressed properly and sit 24 hours and you'll probably survive. But we're talking 2, 3, 4, 5-day scenario that could blend into a week. So at that point, you might want to have certain items to guarantee you will not become wet, cold, hypothermic, or hypothermic. Okay, so we'll talk about that kind of stuff. So let's kick it off, like I said, using the needs versus the wants. Needs versus wants. The first 5 C's: cutting tool, cordage, container, cover, and combustion. We also have something called redundancies, meaning more than one. Container, I have 2 canteens. I have a nesting cup as well. That's 3 containers. A cutting tool, my primary knife. I also have a pocket knife. See where we're going with this? Bottom line, minimum these 5. Let's go ahead and show you these items and we'll talk about them. There's no particular order, just have all 5. A primary knife or a primary cutting tool. I'm not a big fan of the K-bar anymore since I got into bushcrafting because it is a rat tail tang. But truth be told, this will do probably 90% of what I would do in the field anyways, with the exception of batoning. I would not want to do this because I could bend this blade. I've actually seen these snap off. Whatever knife you prefer, whatever grind, meaning on the blade profile or the grind that you prefer, use it. The important thing is have a primary knife. Good 4 to 5 inch blade and you should be in business. Next one here on our list is cordage. I'm a big fan of number 36 and number 40 bank line. This is tarred trot line that you use for catfishing. And here's why. It's got a break strength around 385 pounds. And you've seen me over the past 3.5 years build crazy structures with this stuff. It will not stretch before it breaks, it just breaks. I've caught fish with this. Used this for my infamous bow drill classes that I show, and I've performed several times in the field. It's just a lot user-friendly, and a lot more user-friendly, and it will actually bind onto the spindle and prevent it from slipping. So I'm a big fan of this. I'm really a fan of it for this reason. This is approximately 100 feet. Now, military pushes paracord. This is 100 feet. It's less than half the size, meaning it's going to take up half the space in a pack, or in this case, a butt pack on my harness. Downside to paracord, it will stretch around 250 to 300 pounds. It will stretch first, then break. Now people are going to say, well, you got the inner strands, you could do all this stuff. You could. You could do a lot of stuff. I've actually used a bow drill with the inner strands. I've made fishing line with the inner strands. But if you're solely carrying it for the inner strands, if you look at this twisted bank line, there's actually 3 lines in here that are twisted around. So you have 3 lines right here, okay, that are number 12 if this is a number 36. Make sense? So if you're going for weight and to save room, common sense, first time, every time. A lot of people don't think about that. They run to this stuff because they were trained that way, but the reality is there's better stuff on the market. Another downside of this, I learned using this for a bow drill and wrap it around the spindle in repeated use. What tends to happen, it heats up and it will start slipping as well. So pros and cons, do what you want, use what you're comfortable with. The important thing is, I would say have a minimum 100 feet of some type of cordage. For me, bank line, first time, every time. Now, I'm not a fan of plastic canteens anymore. The military pushes these because they want you to use some type of chlorinating tablets to go inside there, or iodine tablets. It takes 35 minutes, 40 minutes for it to work properly. Downside is you cannot boil water in these. So if you're not in the military, you're not tactical. So why carry an extra filter? Why carry extra chlorine tablets? Why carry iodine tablets or bottles of iodine if you don't need to? Okay, so I defaulted to switching one of these out with a metal canteen so I can boil water to disinfect it. I also have a small container that I can cook in. So something to think about. Choice is yours. Moving right along to cover. In this case, we have a military poncho, USGI poncho from the late 1990s. Excellent condition. You guys have seen me throw leaves inside this and make a browse bed. You've seen me take bunches of clay, put it inside there, bring it to my location. Every single configuration that you can do with a regular 5x7 tarp, you can do with a military poncho. So it's worth its weight in gold. Alright, so for combustion, I'm going to choose a Bic lighter. Instant gratification, first time, every time. Now, there's always the argument of Bics versus Zippo lighters. Here's my take on it. Bring what the hell you want, okay? Once the Zippo is empty, you get to fill it back up, okay? So that means you're carrying something extra with you to do that. This right here, if it's brand new, you probably have thousands of strikes in it. If you've made char cloth from punk wood or char material, you can actually use the spark off of this to light that. I have yet to have somebody go out in the woods for 3, 4, or 5 days or a week and start with a brand new Bic lighter and it be empty, even the people that smoke, all right? So these will also float in the water. Toss it into a creek, it falls out of your pocket. You can actually see it floating downstream. A Zippo most likely will sink. So there are things to think about, and there's pros and cons to both, but again, ultimately it's your choice. If you like what you see here, please do me that favor. Hit that like and subscribe button, then ring that notification bell. Once you ring that bell, please select all notifications. Then take it a step further, grab your cell phone, download the free YouTube app and sign in. This will give you push notifications when my new videos drop. Before moving on to our next 5, let's talk about our redundancies. We already touched on it. We're going to mark those using a star. Redundancies, there's a little asterisk or a star right there. We have a container. We have 2 of those. Technically we have 3, but 2 that will hold water. So container, there's our star. We also carry a pocket knife. It's a cutting tool. We're going to mark that one right there. What else do we have? This is a ferrocerium rod or a ferro rod. You get about 10,000 plus strikes with something like this. It's a 1/2 inch diameter by about 5 inches in length. This one here is some Exotac. It actually screws in, so if you break them or use it to the point where it's useless, you can buy a new one and thread it back in there. The back end over here also pops off. And you can put char material inside there or cotton that's impregnated with some type of fuel. And again, you get about 10,000 strikes. It's going to guarantee you that spark. In wet weather, damp weather, snow, etc. So combustion, we have another star. Now the truth about redundancies, they are not your primary go-to items. This is a pocket knife. Got an extra 3-inch blade. Most important thing to me on this pocket knife is this right here, a saw. Those that follow my channel, you've seen me cut 2 to 2.5 inch diameter logs. Perfect for shelters, for beds, for tent stakes, things like that. Makes my life easier. Best part is, it goes into my pocket. Our next 5 C's: cotton bandana, a compass, cargo tape, candling device or a flashlight / headlamp, either or, and a cloth needle. Now, I mean a sewing kit, but that starts with an S, so we're talking about C's, so cloth needle, cloth, canvas needle, you get the picture. Now, real quick, before we get too far down the trail in this next 5, back to this K-bar. Someone's going to take it the wrong way. Excellent knife, and truth be told, I use it only when I'm taking my old school kit out. And another reason is, see the size of that loop? That's the size of the loop you need to fit around that actual cargo belt. And most sheets nowadays do not have a loop that size. So you're kind of SOL if you want this knife attached, or any knife attached to that belt. So again, pros and cons. Moving on. First one, cotton bandana. This is a 100% cotton 3x3 shamag. You can see the size of that bad boy. And yes, it's a off orange reddish color. I chose that because I'm not in the military anymore and haven't been for a long time, and I'm not tactical. And most people, and I'm going to say most meaning 99.99999% of people, are not in the military. And if you think you're going to be tactical at some point and say something like, well, the way this country is headed, without proper training or formal training and repeated training and updated training and modern weaponry, you're probably not going to stand a chance anyways. So again, I choose the red one to make it a waypoint. So those that follow my compass videos, we talk about waypoints. And I'll make a video on that again down the road. Just know that I want something bright so I can drop my gear, hang it from a tree. Then I'm free to move around wherever I want at 360, far as the eye can see. As long as I can turn around and see this, I can come back to my camp or back to my gear, pick up my gear, and continue to march. So that's why I chose this color. But in reality, I can put this over my water bottle. I can strain all the leaves and debris off, not filter, strain. And then I can take this as well, soak it, put it on my body, cool me down. I can make a sling out of this. There's infinite things you can do with something like this. We talked about char cloth, 100% cotton. I can take this and make char material or char cloth out of this, and it will take the smallest spark to start my next fire, for my next fire mentality. So there's a lot of thought process into things we're carrying, and that's the important factor. You want to think about the gear you're bringing and understand the hows and whys versus just tossing crap in there and carrying stuff that you don't need. So 2x2 minimum, or in this case a 3x3 100% cotton bandana. We talked about a compass and why I choose this a couple videos back when we were underwater. Go back and check out that video, and I'll explain in that video why I carry the Sunto MC2. It's got a lot of features on here that a Kamenga does not. Right off the bat, we have a mirror. A Kamenga does not. We have a magnifying glass or sun lens. It's got a magnification of 5 times in it. A Kamenga does not. There's a whole lot more. I go into detail with that. But the important thing is, with a compass, you want the ability to walk a straight line, and that's what a compass will give you. You can be lost, but you're walking a straight line. You're not going to do the infamous circles out in the woods like it's a Blair Witch Project. Okay, so compass of your choice, just bring one. Here we have a 1-inch roll of Gorilla brand duct tape. I can repair my gear, my clothing. You've seen me start fires with this in wet weather. This right here is the perfect length and size. I can cut the sides out and make them into an hourglass shape. And what do we have? A butterfly band-aid for deeper cuts. And the list goes on and on. Great tool to have. And it's a lot better to carry something like this, a 1-inch roll, versus a large roll, especially in that butt pack on that kit. So, cargo tape, worth its weight in gold. Candling device or flashlight, in this case a headlamp. I want to be hands-free. I'm out there in the woods. I don't want to be holding a flashlight doing this, trying to get tasks done and trying to set it up somewhere. I can just put my hat on backwards like this, which is natural anyways, and I can just put it on here, and then now I have 3 different modes I can pick from, and then a strobe as well and I can get out there, I can signal for rescue, or I can perform tasks out there in the dark, or even travel at night. So for me, something that's hands-free, and preferably some type of headlamp that will be over 100 lumens. This one right here, I believe, is 600 plus. So it also has a focused lens where I can bring it from here to here. And it's also perfect if you're out there spotting frogs with a frog gig. Last but not least, a cloth needle or a canvas needle or a cloth canvas needle, meaning a sewing kit. Now, I used to only carry just the needles, but then I found that there's different types of threads in this little kit here. There's even buttons in here. There's a couple military buttons, small pair of scissors, which that in itself is worth its weight in gold. There's even a small ruler inside here. I think it's about a foot in length. So you can repair your gear, your clothing. There's probably about 7 or 8 different size needles inside here. One large one in there looks like it may actually go through canvas or thicker material. It all fits inside this military style compass pouch, and they can be tossed into a pack. The one thing you're not going to do, and people say, well, you could suture wounds. You cannot. There's no curved needles in here, and I highly suggest you get training before trying to suture anyone, anything, including yourself. So let's stick to this, a sewing kit. Now, in no particular order, I'm going to choose these items that I'm going to carry in that kit and make it under 10 pounds like I just said. I think it's around 8, 8.5. The first one's going to be some type of food. It could be an MRE. It could be, in this case right here, freeze-dried. These Pathfinder Provisions. This is a cheeseburger meal. We're looking at 610 calories per serving. You got 2 servings in here. If you're out and it's an emergency and you have to camp using this gear, why not eat the whole thing? You'll be walking out the next day. If not, you can make 2 meals out of it. With this, I threw in one of these sporks from Self-Reliance Outfitters. You can take a rubber band there and just tape it around there. Over here, we have a notebook and pencil, Write in the Rain notebook with a Write in the Rain pencil. I see something out there, I'm using my compass, I'm navigating, I found a water source, I found some morels over there. I can make notes with azimuths, bearings, reverse azimuths. I'm there for a couple days, I can make an actual map of where I'm at, how far to get to certain locations, get to that hilltop so I can look around. This thing right here, it will give you something to do to boost your morale, keep your mind occupied, but in reality, you're helping yourself by making an actual map. So something to think about. Don't leave home without this notebook and pencil. 55-gallon, 6 mil thickness, not millimeter, trash bag. This right here could be used as extra waterproofing. I can cut the thing open if I had to and make an extra tarp or a tent or a shelter. I could fill this full of sticks, pencil lead, finger and thumb size sticks for my kindling to start a fire, keeping it dry in a rainstorm. I could cut a hole in this and put it over my body if I chose to use my poncho for a shelter and make an improvised poncho. A raised stretcher bed to get off the ground. Most importantly, in a situation like this, a bed or a browse bed. I could fill this full of leaves or debris or dead grass and get me off the ground. A good 3 to 4 inches of compressed material will combat conduction or your body touching that cold ground and sucking the heat off of you. So this right here in itself is an excellent piece of kit to have. Weighs probably nothing. I mean, I'll weigh something, but we're talking ounces. So why not have this? Do I need it? No, but why not? And this one right here is another fire starter. We have them in our ferrocerium rod that will burn for probably 3 to 5 minutes from Self-Reliance Outfitters. Again, weighs ounces, but it will guarantee a fire in wet weather. So again, we have another redundancy for combustion. So you see the method to the madness here. This is a brief, really brief overview of what I carry, or an idea of what I carry whenever I go out. So if I have to make camp, then I am simply inconveniently camping and I'll be good to go. On that note, let's get all this crap, stop talking, and get out in the woods and get her done. All the gear in my videos can be found in 3 places. 1, my Amazon influencer page, and 2, my Self-Reliance Outfitters influencer page. If you're interested in Corporals Corner merchandise, that can be found on Teespring. All 3 links are found inside my description box. A good old arbor knot around this knot right here, and we're in business. Prusik. And there we go. Something you can't do with a Zippo lighter is rescue the wet lighter. I'm going to simply blow inside of this wheel right here and dry it out. And there you go. So there's some punk wood that we're going to turn into char material like we talked about in the classroom. All we got to do now is deprive this thing of oxygen and superheat it, and we'll be in business. Alright, so while we're waiting here for our punk wood to become char material, we can take a break and enjoy our Pathfinder provisions. Yes, sir. I'm happy with that. Catch you all in a few. Alright, so far so good. We're looking outstanding. Another probably 10 minutes on that. We'll bring it out of the fire, let it cool down, remove that rock, and then we'll test our char. In the meantime, the Etsy page is live. Once again, my Etsy store is open. We have skillets, we have military mess kits, we have tin cowboy cups, and a whole lot more. So check her out. Go to my description box, click on Etsy link, and enjoy. As we shown earlier, the Bic lighter floats. I guarantee if I took a Zippo and tossed it in the water, it's going to sink to the bottom. Something to think about inside of a canoe or a boat, or you have to do a lake or a stream or a river crossing. Again, Bic first time every time. What we've done here is we tied an arbor knot underneath that red button. The red button allows the fuel to go into the tube, and then the spark lights that fuel. So I'm going to conserve 100% of this fuel so I can use it at a later time. I'm going to use the spark from that wheel to light my char cloth or my char material. Always think about the next fire and conserve your resources. And this punky wood becomes char material that I can carry with me as I go and use it for my next fire, the next fire mentality. We also conserved all the fuel inside of this lighter and relied solely on that minute spark. So this video length is going to be probably 30 plus minutes, probably 35, 36. I apologize for that. Some people will like it, some people will be turned off by it. Nothing I can do. When you do a gear dump video, it's important to not just show the gear, but explain the mentality, the thought process, how most of those items flow into each other and they work together. Things that you can create from a minimum kit, and explaining the hows and whys versus just telling you to bring all this stuff. If you're doing a minimum kit, weight is a factor, weight's an issue, it's always going to be an issue. And you want to be able to move quickly and as light as possible, but meet all of your needs. We talked about needs versus wants. We'll talk about that in the morning. On that note, happy Easter. Catch you all in the morning. Not gonna lie, wish I had a blanket, but this was a minimum kit, utilizing what we had and the fire to go inside the shelter. And in early summer, like it is right now, when it's in the mid 40s at night, dressed like this with a light jacket and a fire, you'll be good to go. In fact, you probably lay right here and you're gonna be fine. So, real quick, I mentioned it earlier, the Etsy page is live. Right now, the Etsy page is live. We have skillets like this, I believe up to number 41, so it's about that diameter. Still good for backpacking, military mess kits, cowboy tin cups, things like that. Next week, I got a hold of some military gear, so next Sunday I'll be dropping that. All the things you see that's not available on Amazon, I put in my Etsy shop. So we got, Amazon, we got Self-Reliance Outfitters, and we have the Etsy. All three of those links are in my description box. I say that every single week, and every week I still get people asking me, where do I get my gear? Where can I buy that? All the links are in my description box. You click on there, you see what I have. If it's not there, you simply go to the search box, type it in, boom, you're going to find it. Last thing really quick, I just briefly mentioned it and I forgot. Talking about links in the description box. My link in there for Self-Reliance Outfitters, most of the gear you've seen in this video is from Self-Reliance Outfitters. And the beauty is, I believe until this whole weekend, until about, I think, Monday, there's a 15% off sale. So you just go there and you get 15% off of everything. Even my coveted knife that everybody's looking for, it should be in there. The backpack I always carry is in there. Highly suggest you check it out, especially at 15% off. Why not? That applies to the annual gathering in June. You can buy a gathering ticket. I'm teaching classes there. I'm teaching a master class on land navigation. So I would go there, see what I have. If you can't find it, go to their search box and check it out, man. 15% off. That's at least the cost of shipping. So why not? All right, let's end this bad boy off. No final thoughts today because the entire video was a final thought on the hows and whys of what I carry and why I carry it. On that note, all the gear in my videos can be found in 3 places. 1 on my Amazon influencer page and 2 on my Self-Reliance Outfitters influencer page. If you're interested in Corporals Corner merchandise, that can be found on Teespring. All 3 links are found inside my description box. Now please do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button, then ring that notification bell. Once you ring that bell, please select all notifications. And as always, thank you for your comments, views, and support. Thanks for watching. Get out in the field, have some fun. I'm going to catch you next time.